welcome to Perth Backyard Veg. Today we are going to show you how to set up a worm tub. In a previous video we've shown you how to set up a stackable worm farm, but in our last video we actually showed you how to harvest from this compost tub, so I thought it would be a good idea to show you how we actually set this one up. This one we pretty much set up for free, and so it's a good entry point for those of you that do not yet have a vermicomposting system in your house. So we've got black tub, any tub you like is fine really. We've got some food to feed the worms, we've got our little worms, we've got some coffee grounds for them, we've got some leaves in that bag there, we've got some cardboard to line the tub with, and some coarse material that we actually got when we harvested the castings from this tub. If you haven't seen that video, check it out, linked below. So yeah, we set this worm tub up for free. It's actually a little bit broken, so it was a tub that we were using for something else and it got a little bit cracked, but it's actually perfect for this. So it even has a hole in the bottom there, being good for drainage, and also if the worms need to escape, if it gets too hot in summer, they do have an exit point if they needed it. But as we get into the warmer weather, we'll show you some tips for keeping your worm farm cool and your worms nice and safe and happy. So if you've got an old storage tub you're not using anymore, or is broken a bit, then it's perfect for this. Some cardboard. Now these are actually pizza boxes. We collected these from a party that we went to and they were going to throw them out. You can't recycle pizza boxes in your normal recycling bins because they're contaminated with grease and food and everything like that, but you can put them into your composting systems and your worm systems. Worms love cardboard and they get into all the little crevices and mingle and increase the population of your worm bin. And then we have our coarse material there and the leaves that we've been harvesting from car parks. Let's set this up. First thing I'm going to do is get some of this cardboard. Now we actually pre-moistened it to make it a little bit easier. Also then it will kind of absorb some of that moisture in the bottom layer. I find dry cardboard is a little bit resistant at first to absorb moisture, the same as dry soil. So we kind of wet that a little bit, makes it a bit easier to work with, and it's going to be better in the tub. Now this is optional, or you could also use, we've used in our stackable worm farms, the brown paper bags that you can get from the supermarkets now, or sometimes they have the brown paper in packaging and everything like that. You can certainly use that, it's up to you. This is to try and just get a nice base layer so that things don't just fall out the bottom, because we've got that drainage hole there. If the worms wanted to get out, they could go kind of up the sides and around, and also they start eating through this cardboard, so eventually it won't be there anymore, but it's nice to have that layer when we're first starting off. Okay, so after I've done that, I'm actually going to tip in the coarse material. We do also have quite a few worms in here from when we harvested this tub in the previous video. I wasn't too picky about getting them out of the sieve because I knew all of this stuff was going to go back into this tub. So I'm actually just going to tip this entire lot. We ended up with about 2 buckets worth of this material because we make a nice starting layer. Now if you don't have any kind of half-finished compost already, or anything that you've harvested from a previous worm tub, that's fine. You can just use good sources of carbon and then a bit of soil. So you just get couple of like little small pots worth of your garden soil and sprinkle them in, or you can use some actual compost if you want to. But this is some nice chunky material. It's partially broken down. It's a bit moist still, which is nice. And there will be some worms through here. There we go. Hopefully you can see that little guy. There will be some worms in here to get the party started. Alright, so we've got that layer in there. Then I'm going to add in the coffee grinds. Sometimes I'll add eggshells as well. If a friend has given them to us, we'll grind those up and put them in here as well. And also if you've got sand and soil in here, that's also good for the worms because they need some kind of grit They don't have any teeth, so in order to break down everything they're eating, they need to have that grit in their digestive system that kind of grinds up all of that stuff. Now, if you're drinking coffee at home, you'll probably have a lot of coffee grinds anyway. Otherwise, quite often the Bunnings Cafe have bags of coffee grinds that they're giving away to gardeners to put in their gardens and compost systems. So you shouldn't really be forking out any money for this setup. Next we're going to put in some food. Now this is set outside all day after we harvested it yesterday morning, but that's okay. It's a little bit dried up, they'll still like it, but what I am going to do is I'm going to cut it up a bit smaller than this to make it a bit easier for them. This is all I'm really going to put in this entire tub to start with, just to get them kind of used to their new home. And then we'll start adding more food in, and I'll check on it to see how much they're eating. You actually don't want to overfeed your worms because then it will get moldy and it'll go all gross. So start off with less. We've actually got multiple composting systems around our small little backyard, so we have plenty of room for the rest of our scraps to go to. So pair of scissors. Just gonna roughly cut this up. Now, if these are scraps coming directly from the kitchen, a lot of the times I'll just cut them up really small on the chopping board and make it even finer for them. But even if it's a bit chunky and coarse, they'll still make their way through it. Next in is the worms that we did scoop out of the layer when we were harvesting this tub. You can see they're not particularly happy that I've left them in here overnight, but they'll be fine. They've just tried to escape. Aren't they beautiful? So I'm just going to sprinkle these over the top layer and get them all in there, and we'll be on to the next step. And now in with some of these leaves. Now you can see that that's not full all the way to the top. With our tub system, we'll actually keep adding layers in as we go. So if we give them some food, we'll generally add a bit more of the leaves or other carbon source on top. But right now I'm just going to water this in a little bit. I water it in after the leaves are on so that the poor little worms aren't getting directly watered. And now for our final layer of this worm tub. This acts like a little bit of a blanket that we put over the top of everything and tucks them in all nice and snug. And then when we want to add the extra stuff in, we just peel it to the side, add the food or the new carbon sources, and then add it back in. And that's our easy free worm tub setup. I hope that inspires you to start vermicomposting in your backyard or wherever you are. And I hope you'll consider subscribing to our channel. Please let us know if this was helpful, or if you have any other tips and tricks that you would give to our viewers or ourselves. Thank you for watching. Bye.